the 27th of December, 1987. 27th of December, 1987. And the essence of the Murli is signs of the victorious Jules whose intellects have faith. Signs of the victorious Jules whose intellects have faith. Today, Bab Dada is looking at his victorious children everywhere whose intellects have faith. Faith brings victory. So those children whose intellects have faith become victorious. He is looking at the signs of faith in every child. The main signs of faith are, as is your faith, accordingly the spiritual intoxication will be visible in your actions and words. Nishchay and Nasha. So if the faith is strong, then there will be more Nasha, that is spiritual intoxication, that will be visible in our actions and words and on our faces at every moment. More faith, more intoxication. Less faith, less intoxication. You will easily experience victory in your every action and thought in a practical way. So there are three things here. So faith will help us have that intoxication, and then faith and intoxication together will help us have victory at every moment, in every thought, in every action, in a practical way. So you see, this can be played around with, and faith can directly create victory, and victory can then create that spiritual intoxication. Or faith can create the spiritual intoxication, which can be the bridge for achieving success, getting victory. So very deep things to think about. They are not mutually exclusive. They work hand in hand. So there can't be even 1% doubt, even in your thoughts, in your elevated fortune, in your elevated life, in the Father, or in your connections and relationships with the family. 100% faith. Then, even in our thoughts, in our elevated fortune, in our elevated life, in the Father, that's Baba, or in our connections and relationships with the Brahmin family. All question marks will have finished, and you will have become a point who puts a full stop in every situation. When your intellect has faith, you will easily and automatically experience yourself to be a carefree emperor at every moment. When your intellect has faith, you will easily and automatically experience yourself to be a carefree emperor at every moment. Yeah, so no worries, no fears, no anxieties. You know that you're going to be victorious. That is, you'll not repeatedly have to make effort to bring that awareness. You won't have to labor to say, I am an emperor. But you will constantly be stable on the elevated seat of your throne. That laboring will go away. That struggle, that fight, inner conflict, inner battling, that will go away. Whether it is a stage of happiness or sorrow, you automatically stay in the experience of that stage. You don't repeatedly have to remind yourself, I'm happy, I'm unhappy. You easily and naturally experience the stage of being a carefree emperor. In worldly life, your stage is created according to the situation. But in this powerful Alokik Brahmin life, your stage is not created according to the situation. For you, have the elevated stage of a carefree emperor through receiving the light and might of knowledge from Baptaka and from the power of remembrance. So, are these two different things? That we get power of remembrance through remembrance, and then Baba gives us light and might. Here it seems as if these are two exclusive things. Think about it for a moment. We get light and might from Baba based on how much we remember him. But it kind of seems here as if Baba is going to give us light and might, irrespective of whether we make effort or not. Yeah, but also it could be Baba talking about knowledge, because you look at this sentence, receiving the light and might of knowledge and from the power of remembrance. So knowledge has its own power and remembrance has its own. And so together it will help us stabilize ourselves in the elevated awareness on the elevated stage of a carefree enterer. So you would refer to this as receiving the inheritance of the powers of knowledge and yoga from the Father. In Brahmin life, you attain your stage through the inheritance from the Father. Yeah, so we are not creating our awareness, our consciousness based on external situations. It is on the basis of our internal stage. And how is that created? Through the inheritance that we receive from the Father. And the inheritance is of knowledge and remembrance. Baba is saying, through the inheritance from the Father, through the blessings from the Sadguru, and the elevated fortune you receive from the bestower of fortune. If your stage is based on the situation, then who is more powerful? The situation would be more powerful, would it not? Those who create their stage on the basis of the situation can never remain unshakable and immovable. Yes, because those situations will always change. Today, people will put you on some sort of makeshift throne, but tomorrow they will snatch it away from you. So we will never be unshakable and immovable if our awareness or our power is based on some external situation. Yeah, so external supports are going to fall apart, and so will we if we have made them as the basis of our stage. So, in a minute without knowledge, 1 minute they are dancing with a lot of happiness, and the next minute they are sleeping on their stomachs. Yeah, so that is, they have fallen apart. In a lokic life, you don't have a stage of such fluctuation. You're not dependent on the situation, but on the basis of your inheritance, blessings, and your elevated stage. You transform the situation. Yeah, in the morning, Murli, Baba said that as well, right? Intizam versus intizar. We are the ones who create our fortune, so we don't wait for the fortune to be delivered to us or the future to be created for us. Yeah, that is unpredictable, that is anxiety provoking. But if you are not creating the future for yourself, then someone else is, and then you become a slave to that person. So Baba is saying that you are the one who has to transform the situation. Yes, whatever situation comes our way, we are the ones who have to transform it. So, because of this, one whose intellect has faith is always a carefree emperor. Yeah, Baba is saying deep faith is what Baba is looking for. the deepest faith, not superficial faith, right? The faith that something good will happen. No, we have understood it. We have seen through the lens of God or the eyes of God. So we have seen that, and that's why we have clear understanding, deep faith. So, because of this, one whose intellect has faith is always a carefree emperor. You worry when something is lacking or something is missing. But if you are an embodiment of all attainments, if you are a master almighty authority, what is there to worry about? You worry when something is lacking or something is missing. But if you are an embodiment of all attainments, if you are a master almighty authority, what is there to worry about? When your intellect has faith, you always surrender to the Father. When your intellect has faith, you always surrender to the Father. To surrender means to surrender completely, to surrender every trace and progeny, whether it is the progeny of vices that bring you into body consciousness, the progeny of bodily relations, or the progeny of a desire of temporary things associated with the body. What is Baba saying? No desires. To surrender means to surrender completely. What does this mean? Surrendering. There are lots of new students. Are you getting scared listening to this word surrender? What do you have to surrender? So it doesn't mean that you stop eating and you give away your clothes and shoes and jackets and your house and your job and go and live in the Himalayas or somewhere
Yeah.
in caves or nothing like that. What it really means is to surrender your ego. So, what it really means is surrendering the outcome of situations. We want situations to go in certain ways, right? And they don't go in those ways oftentimes. Yeah. So, our ego tells us that no, this is how it should have gone. And if it did go this way, then something was wrong. And oftentimes we blame ourselves, but more than oftentimes we blame others. So to surrender means to surrender completely, to surrender every trace and progeny, whether it is the progeny of vices that brings you into body consciousness, yes, the progeny of bodily relations, or the progeny of a desire for temporary things associated with the body. All of those things are included in the progeny. To be completely surrendered and to be a complete renunciate are the same thing. To surrender doesn't mean that you sit in Madhuban or at a center. To offer yourself for service is a step on the ladder, but to surrender yourself completely is the destination of the ladder. I'll repeat this. I know some of you may be writing these points. To offer yourself for service is a step on the ladder, but to surrender yourself completely is the destination of the ladder. You have climbed one step of the ladder, but the sign of one whose intellect has faith, who reaches the destination, is that he would have surrendered all three progenies. And what were the three progenies? The progeny first one was the vices, the second was bodily relationships, and the third was the desire for temporary things associated with the body. Yeah. Got it? You have climbed one step of the ladder, but the sign of one whose intellect has faith, who reaches the destination, is that he would have surrendered all three progenies. You now know all three things very clearly, do you not? All progeny ends when there isn't the slightest trace of it in your dreams or thoughts. If any trace remains, a progeny will be created. This is why the definition of a complete renunciate is extremely deep. Baba will tell you more at some other time. The definition of a complete renunciate. Sometimes Baba says, one who surrenders even the ego of surrendering the ego is a true renunciate. Yeah, think about it. That deep state of egolessness. Think about it. Sometimes there is arrogance because of surrendering the ego. Can we go beyond even that arrogance? All right. So Baba is saying one whose intellect has faith will always be carefree and free from worry. He will experience the intoxication of guaranteed victory in every situation. One whose intellect has faith will always be carefree and free from worry. He will experience the intoxication of guaranteed victory in every situation. Faith enables you to experience being carefree with a guarantee at every moment. Yeah. If you buy something that comes with a 10-year guarantee, yeah, then you feel good, right? You can use it um, without any worries. So this is how it is. Think about life where you're sure that victory will be yours. You're sure that everything will eventually work for you in your favor. Maybe not in the way you think it should go, but way better than you can ever imagine. See how worry free you'll become. So, see, Baba is saying faith enables you to experience being carefree with a guarantee at every moment. See, Baba has taught us the understanding of the cycle, that in this cycle, in this drama, nothing bad can ever happen to anyone, period. And especially to us, Baba's children, nothing bad can ever happen to us. This whole drama is designed in such a wonderful way. It's perfect in every aspect. It is auspicious. It is beneficial. You see? And also that despite whatever challenges that come our way, now that we have Baba with us, we won't fall apart because Baba is the supreme energy, is the almighty authority. As long as we are under his canopy of protection, as long as his hand is on our head, nothing bad can ever happen to us. We will only grow, we will only rise. Yeah. So, one whose intellect has faith will always be carefree and free from worry. He'll experience the intoxication of guaranteed victory in every situation. Faith enables you to experience being carefree with a guarantee at every moment. Such a soul will always remain intoxicated, and seeing his intoxication, others too will experience that spiritual intoxication. He will give others an experience of spiritual intoxication with help from the Father and his own stage. I'll repeat, such a soul will always remain intoxicated, that there'll be a nasha, not the wrong kind of nasha that people have. Oh, I'm so rich, I have so many properties, I have so much of money in my 401k, and I have this and I have that. No, all of those things create false kind of intoxication. But this is the true intoxication. Yeah, that victory is guaranteed, that we will be successful because Baba is with us. And so, through our intoxication, we'll be able to give others the experience of spiritual intoxication as well. Baba is saying he will, so such a soul will give others an experience of spiritual intoxication with the help from the Father and his own stage. Oops. So, what would be the specialities of someone whose intellect has faith and who stays in spiritual intoxication? Firstly, to the extent that there is elevated intoxication, so he would accordingly have humility in every act of life. Firstly, to the extent that there is elevated intoxication, so he would accordingly have humility in every act of life. Because of having the speciality of humility, he would have a creative intellect. Let's listen to it again. Firstly, to the extent that there is elevated intoxication, so he would accordingly have humility in every act of life. And because of the speciality of humility, he would have a creative intellect. See, Nirman and Nirmar. These are two rhyming words in Hindi. So Nirman means humility. When we are humble, then we are able to create new things. In fact, create a deeper connection with souls of the world. Yeah. Think of it. You go to work and let's say you don't have humility. Let's say there's a lot of arrogance. Then what happens? People run away from us, right? They don't want to even hire us. They'll find some excuse to lay us off. Yeah. But if there's humility, why would they not want you? Yeah. So similarly here too with Baba's children, with the family, if there's humility, then we are able to create very deep connections. Yeah. That's what Baba is saying. And not just that, you see, arrogance is like holding a mask in front of the face. Yeah. It's very tiring. In those days, there used to be these kind of parties where people would hold a mask in front of their face. They had, it wasn't really attached to their face or anything like that. The mask would be attached to a stick and small stick, and they would hold that stick in their hands in front of their faces. So think of it through the 3-4 hours of the party. If you're holding on to the mask, then you'd be exhausted. Then you won't be able to do anything productive, anything creative. So that's exactly what it is. It drains our energy, and there is no desire to do anything new, anything creative. Yeah. All right. So that's what Baba is saying. Because of having the speciality of humility, he would have a creative intellect. He would pay attention to the intellect to the extent that it is humble, that is nirman, so it is creative. You speak of renewal, so his intellect would be one that brings about renewal. Yeah, nirman, that is creative. So one is creativity, like, oh, sure, maybe, create a new plan, a new project or something, but also to be able to create the new world. Yeah. The renewal of the world, the old world will be changed into the new world. So Baba is saying you speak of renewal, so his intellect will be one that brings about renewal. He would be creative and also humble. Where there are these specialities, such a person is called victorious because his intellect has faith. An instrument, creative and humble. So now the third word gets added here. Baba always uses these three words together: Nimit, Nirman, and Nirman. So instrument is Nimit. that I'm really not doing anything. This is happening through me. Karan Karavan Har, that is, Baba is the one who is doing everything through me. I'm merely an instrument, and that consciousness allows us to be more humble and with more humility that we can create within ourselves, that we are able to create many new things around us. So our creativity grows. What would be the language of one whose intellect has faith? To be constantly sweet in his language is a common thing for one whose intellect has faith. But he would also have generosity. And in today's Murli, Baba used these two rhyming words, frak din and fark. Right? In a way, what Baba was saying that Baba gives everything with a generous heart. He gives us everything that he has. But yet, there is a difference, farak, in how much we are able to take from Baba. Yeah. So here again, Baba is talking about generosity. So just like Baba, we also become generous. There is this fourth word here when Baba is talking about to be constantly sweet. It's nirmal, nirmal vani. So nimit, that is instrument consciousness, nirman, that is humility, nirman, that is creativity, and then nirmal vani, that is sweetness. Baba is saying, but he would also have generosity. Generosity means he would have the generosity to make all souls move forward. You first, not me, me. Generosity means to keep others ahead, just as Father Brahma always kept Mother Jagadamba and the children in front. He would say, Jagadamba is cleverer than I am. These children are cleverer than I am. Yeah, but one has to understand that you don't stop making effort. Your effort has to be there in the background. You know, oftentimes we feel that, you first, then we don't take opportunities for service. And no, that shouldn't happen. Anytime there is a tussle or something, or somebody else is wanting to do it, sure, you can go ahead and do it. But when the opportunity comes to us, then we take that opportunity too, because service opportunities are the basis for us to rise to the next level. Baba said each service opportunity is like a rung of the ladder. Yeah. And then when we are completely surrendered, and that is the final destination of the ladder. Where would the ladder take us? To a state where we are fully surrendered. Yes. So each step of the ladder is one step higher, yeah, in our state of consciousness. Yes. And also one step more in our entire process of surrendering. Yeah. So we surrender a little bit every time we engage in service. So you first, not me, me. Also think about it. Baba says that this you first, I first has to be, almost like a double standard, but in a good way, right? That when it is the opportunity for transformation, we can't wait for the other person to change. We have to take the initiative and bring about the change ourselves. Yes. So generosity means to keep others ahead. This is the language of generosity, where there is generosity, where you don't have any desire to keep yourself in the front, then according to the drama, you automatically receive the fruit you desire. The more you stay in the stage of being ignorant of all desires, the more the father and the family consider you to be worthy and keep you in the front. So those who say you first in their minds, that is hearts, cannot be left behind. They say you first in their minds, and so they are automatically put first by everyone. However, someone with this desire would not be. That is, I want, I want, I want. In any case, want has to be changed to give, right? Are we willing to give? Do we have that much of generosity to give? So, the language of someone whose intellect has faith is that of generosity, the language of contentment, and the language of benefiting everyone. The language of someone whose intellect has faith is that of generosity, the language of contentment, and the language of benefiting everyone. And today's Murli is even more powerful than yesterday's. Yesterday's Murli was amazing too, but today is something, huh? The language of someone whose intellect has faith is that of generosity, the language of contentment, and the language of benefiting everyone. Someone with such language would be said to be victorious because his intellect has faith. All of your intellects have faith, do you? They not, because faith is the foundation. Faith is the foundation. Okay? So Baba said in the beginning, if you remember, Baba has come back to that same point. Faith will give us intoxication, and through intoxication, we will then be victorious. The faith that we'll be victorious will allow us to attract victory into our lives. You understand? See how Baba is reminding us of the law of attraction, which people of the world talk about on a constant basis. Think about it. The faith that will be victorious, that faith is going to attract the true victory. Have you heard of that phrase or the term self-fulfilling prophecy? Yeah. There is something called as Murphy's Law. In today's world, they talk about this. Murphy's Law, you've heard it? Yeah, it says that if you think, or if anything can go wrong, it will sort of, it's not that depressing as it sounds, but in a way that there is a potential for things to go wrong. Yeah, there are a lot of moving parts in any situation or whatever you are aspiring to do. So in that, on one hand, one has to be very careful to dot all the i's and cross all the t's, to make sure that you are really looking at the thing, that project, from every angle, so that it becomes fail proof. Yeah, but at the same time, say, in a way, if we keep thinking that something will go wrong, then you attract the thing to go wrong. I've shared this in the past. For a long time, I used to somehow, even before I would start anything good, I don't know why I had this mindset that something's going to go wrong. And then I would see that something actually would go wrong. And then I would say, see, I was right. So I would pat myself on the back because of the failure. I would say, yes, I knew it would fail. It's very interesting. But then I realized, no, I am the one who's invoking failures in my life by thinking about them, by ruminating on them. Yes, on one hand, we have to look at all the possible ways we can fail, and make sure that we don't go those routes. But at the same time, if we keep ruminating about the failure that can happen, the potential failures, then we are bound to attract more failures in our lives. Yeah. So Baba is reminding us that we have to hold the thought that we'll be victorious. So yeah, together let's hold the thought, yeah, that we'll be victorious. We are already victorious. Yes, we hold the potential to be victorious 100%. That's a see, victory is beginning to come our way. Yeah. It has already been dispatched from the warehouse. The UPS folks are picking it up. It's UPS ground, and it's on its way. Yeah, in a day or two, it will be delivered at our doorstep. So, however, when the storms of situations of Maya, of sanskars, and the different forms of nature come, you then know how strong the foundation of your faith is. In this old world, you have different types of storms, do you not? Sometimes of the wind, sometimes of the ocean. In the same way, here too, you have different types of storms. What does a storm do? It first blows you and then throws you. Yeah. Baba is talking about, yeah, those twisters. So what does a storm do? It first blows you and then throws you. So here storms also first pull you to themselves with pleasure. They take you high in some temporary intoxication, because Maya also knows that you will not go to her unless there is some attainment. So she first makes you fly high with artificial attainment. Then she drops you down in the falling stage. She's clever. So the vision of those whose intellects have faith is that of three eyes, trinetri. You see the three aspects of time with their third eye, and they can therefore never be deceived. To be able to see the past, present, and future. Mhm. I like to see this as the left eye seeing the past, the right eye seeing the future, and the middle eye, yeah, the third eye, seeing the present moment. Yeah, so we are seeing all the three aspects of time. So faith is tested at the time of a storm. Yeah. Faith in what? Faith that victory will happen. Yeah, so this is a very comprehensive kind of faith that one needs to have. Faith in the self, that I can do it. Yeah. Faith in Baba. Baba, you're with me. So together we can make this happen. Faith in the drama. And faith in every soul who has been picked by Baba. Yeah, that together a lot of wonderful things can happen. Yes, so just as storms uproot the foundations of big old trees, so these storms of Maya also try to uproot the foundation of your faith. However, the result is that the foundation is not uprooted that much, but it shakes a lot. The foundation even becomes weak because of being shaken. So at such a time, check the foundation of your faith. If you ask anyone if they have firm faith, what do they say? They would give you a very good lecture. Baba knows us. We will all give each other good lectures. Yes, yes, I have lots of faith. But then the faith does get tested when the storm comes. Mhm. It is good to have faith. However, if at such a time your faith shakes, then for it to shake means you're also shaken from your reward for birth after birth. Yes, so here again, one needs to be super honest with ourselves. So, but at least first and the foremost thing is that you have to be honest with yourself. Who cares about being honest with anyone else? Yeah, let the whole world go wherever it wants to. But at least we have to be honest with ourselves. So yeah, so Dev Baba is saying that you have to be honest, right? So however, if at such a time your faith shakes, then for it to shake means you're also shaken from your reward for birth after birth. Therefore, check at the time of storms when someone doesn't give you some limited name or regard, or when the storms of Maya come in the form of wasteful thoughts. Yeah, what Baba is saying, when someone doesn't give you some limited name or regard, or when the storms of Maya come in the form of wasteful thoughts, when the desires you have are not being fulfilled, then at that time, do you remember your faith of being a powerful soul or a powerful child of the Almighty Father? What is Baba saying? Check when someone doesn't give you some limited name or regard, or when the storms of Maya come in the form of wasteful thoughts, when the desires you have are not being fulfilled, then at that time do you remember your faith of being a powerful child of the Almighty Father? Or does the wasteful become victorious over the powerful? If the wasteful becomes victorious, then the foundation of your faith would shake, would it not? Then instead of experiencing yourself to be powerful, you would experience yourself to be a weak soul. You would then be disheartened. What do I do? I can't do more than this. Nothing good have ever happens through me. I'm good for nothing. Sometimes we start having such kind of thoughts for ourselves too, or for other people. Oh, so and so is like this, so and so doesn't do this. So we have negative thoughts for others too. So this is why you're being told to check at the time of storms. Limited name and honor and the consciousness of I bring you down from spiritual pride. Any limited desire will bring you down from the faith of being completely ignorant of the knowledge of desires. Baba wants us to become completely ignorant of the knowledge of desires. So faith does not mean I'm not a body but a soul. But what type of a soul am I? See, who am I goes into much deeper levels as you listen to Avyakt Murli's. It's not just I am a soul, but what kind of soul am I? To experience that intoxication and self respect at that time is called being victorious because the intellect has faith. If someone doesn't take a paper but says that he has passed with honors, would anyone believe him? A certificate is required. No matter with how many marks someone passes or if he has a degree, until he receives his certificate, there is no value. When you take the test paper at the time of the paper and you pass it and receive the certificate from the father and the family, you can then be called victorious through having faith in the intellect. Yes. So let's say I have this thought for myself that I'm a very nice person. Let's say I'm a nice soul. I'm very kind. I'm very compassionate. I'm very loving. I'm very forgiving. But let's say you all say, no, 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 Shwetank, that's not true. Let's say you say that. So you know, I have to take certificate from each one of you. You understand? So, in other words, I can't just be content with giving myself these titles and holding the thought that I am. Am I truly being able to create that kind of energy in the other person? If not, then I need to go back to the drawing board. Yeah, to see that. So, see, Baba is saying when you take the test paper, yeah, that's when you have to be able to take the certificate from the father and from the family. You can only then can you be called victorious through having faith in the intellect. Do you understand? So continue to check your foundation. You heard the speciality of having an intellect with faith, do you not? Let the spiritual intoxication according to the time be visible in your life. Let it not be just your mind that is pleased, but people should also be pleased. See, how do you please people without becoming a people pleaser? Isn't that interesting? Let, let it not just be that your mind is pleased. Oh, I've done a great job. But what about others? Have you asked them? Let everyone experience you as being a soul who remains intoxicated. Do not just be one who is liked by yourself. I find this so funny. Do not just be one who is liked by yourself, but also be liked by people and by the Father. This is what it is to be victorious. Acha. Let everyone experience you as being a soul who remains intoxicated. Do not just be one who is liked by yourself, but also be liked by people and by the Father. This is what is said to be victorious. Acha. But that's what Baba is saying. Your feeling content is not enough. You could be setting a very low bar for yourself. That's what we talked about in the morning, Murli. Let's say I create a bar that, like, yeah, a goal for myself that it is okay to become angry 5 times a day, but not more. That's a horrible goal to keep. The goal should be mm, maybe getting angry once in 6 months or upset once in 6 months. And so we are sure going to fail because it's going to happen a little more frequently than that. Even subtle anger is anger. Even passive aggression is anger. So many times we set the bar too low, and we kind of feel that we are very good but taking certificate from others, and of course it's okay. Yeah, but also what happens is as time goes on, our expectations also increase. This is very interesting. Today you may be very content with how the Brahmin family is, or wherever you are, very content. But what happens is it invariably happens like that. And especially in the beginning, the honeymoon period, you know, always a honeymoon period where you see only the best of the other person. But then the reality kicks in. So when we come to the year gear, there is a situation where we feel so overwhelmingly nice. But then, we realize actually what happens is as a small child, with even when we make very little effort, you see, the yagya, the universe, the drama will support us, will care for us. Yeah. Just like you see, when you were a small child, you didn't do a damn thing, yet everybody loved you. Everybody wanted to hold you. Everybody wanted to take you and play with you, right? As you grew older, then the expectations would kick in. You see, the parents were the same parents who had no expectations from you, now have so many expectations. You should help with the cleaning, you should help with this, you should help with that, you should at least take care of your bedroom. That's how they used to say. So, similarly, as time goes on, the Yagya's expectations of us also increase. And in that process, if we have not made enough effort on ourselves, then there will be a clash in the mind. You understand? So our expectations will also grow. And even if they don't grow, we'll find it difficult to live up to the expectations of God. God will have expectations from us. You understand what I'm saying? Can God have expectations from us? Is he allowed to have expectations from us? So deep, deep things to think about. So that's why what happens many times is that in the beginning we feel good, and as time goes on, we feel worse. Whereas if in true spirituality, we should feel better, right? As time goes on. Yeah. But there will be lots of phases when we feel worse than before. And it is because of this. You understand? These are the growing pains of spirituality. But acha, to all the victorious Jews whose intellects have faith, to all the carefree children who are free from worry, to the spiritual souls who stay in the intoxication of having guaranteed victory, to all the special souls who go beyond all storms and experience them to be a gift, to the children whose intellects have faith and who remain constantly unshakable, immovable, and stable in a constant stage, Bapdada's love, remembrance, and namaste.